Welcome back, welcome back. I still have a little bit of shaky hands and my blood pumping from that last game, and I hope that you all do as well. Well, Rascal Jester and CGA pushed each other all to their limits. And CGA were the ones to come out on top of that game, and it's sort of unfortunate to see those kinds of signs of life from Rascal Jester this late into the split. But that doesn't mean their playoff chances are dead just yet. They can still look for a tie, potentially, if they want to keep their playoff chances alive. But speaking of their playoffs, a tie that they would need to make it is going to have to come off the back of these next few series. And it's this one next in particular of DFM versus AXZ Gaming. DFM need to lose this in order for Rascal Jester to keep their playoff chances alive. If they do, Rascal Jester has a chance, but if they win it, I do believe that those chances will start to pull away from them. That being said, DFM are going to be running up against AXZ Gaming, and a team that has been struggling and kind of finding... They did find their first win yesterday. AXZ Hajimete Katta is, I believe... Don't quote my Japanese. My grammar's still a little rough, but they did end up pulling out their first win of the split in yesterday's game. And as they pulled out their win against Sengoku, you would hope to see continued signs of life from AXZ. New game today. And you're up against DFM, who have already struggled and lost their game versus Burning Core. And with that, DFM are starting to be at the point of worrying about their playoff position. If AXZ were to win this, and we would see the first, not only a split finals that AXZ, or excuse me, not only a split playoffs that DFM didn't win, a playoff that they didn't show up at all would be insane for the LJL. You can see the teams on your screen. These are your contestants battling it out. AXZ, I think, are the only team that have no chance at playoffs. I think they need quite the amount of stars to align in order to get a tie, but it would... No, I don't... Yeah, AXZ, I think, are the only team that is officially out of the playoff running at this time. And it's a little bit unfortunate if you are AXZ Gaming. You could potentially net 2 wins here, but you would need to be winning all of these games back to back to back, and that would only net you a total of 5 wins, which would tie with Hawks Gaming where they are currently seated. So you would need a lot of Hawks losing both of their games tomorrow, and Detonation Focus Me Detonation Focus Me not getting another set of wins as well. But all of that being said, this last playoff spot is going to be the one that's heavily fought for, as DFM, currently the holders of this 6th slot. They have 4 wins, 2 ahead of Rascal Jester and 3 ahead of AXZ Gaming. So if AXZ want any shot, this is the win that they're going to need. So if they want any shot in this, they're going to need to make it count here. Starting off things with the Galio ban. So we get right into picks and bans here. Sorry, taking one last sip here. Trying to keep all things rolling on the road here. Well, AXZ looking up their next ban. Now, I am really curious to see what DFM are going to do. Their last game where they set up a solo, like the solo DPS position of Callista did not net them success, but it's a repeated mistake that DFM has made in their past games where they just set up some odd-ended champions to be their solo carries. Xerath is not a solo carry. Callista is barely a solo carry if you can get ahead early enough, but DFM are not sinning or winning enough to make that play, to make that kind of a setup work. While AXZ Gaming, they have some struggles of their own they're going to need to overcome if they want to beat out on DFM. I think draft will definitely be a telling sign here for the side of DFM, as that seems to be a huge facet of a lot of their troubles. It is also a little bit sort of team cohesiveness, and DFM not exactly playing on all of the same page all the time. And once again, banning away the Twisted Fate. I'm really curious as to why DFM are continuing to ban away Twisted Fate. They've been the team that has banned it both on blue and red side, but two of their wins were attributed to Seros piloting the Twisted Fate and them running a kind of catch comp, but hard lock in from the set on the side of DFM to start things off. Gives a good amount of flex potential over. While AXZ Gaming have a couple of picks that they can look at here. If they do lock in Ezreal here, they could start to pivot DFM over to looking at Callista if they so choose. And AXZ, if you lock the goddamn Volibear, I'm gonna have a hernia. But locking in a Zoe is not a bad pickup for AXZ Gaming here. Gonna lock in that Zoe. Gives them a decent option in terms of running a side of a kind of poke comp. Please don't lock in the bear. You've already shown your hand at having a poke comp. You might as well just lock in something else that works with it. But they're not going to do that just yet. This would be a good time to actually see Lethality Varus, which we do sometimes struggle to see. But AXZ Gaming going to be starting things off with a Volibear and a Zoe to get things started off here. And with DFM, they have a couple picks of their own. Ezreal, a pick that AXZ definitely could have been looking at, but is going to possibly be sniped away from them, as DFM are going to pick that one up there. They have a couple options to pick alongside it. They could go for something like a Bard. Ezreal Bard is a very potent lane, and Bard especially would work really well into a poke style comp. The Tempered Fate can just kind of fly out. If you don't find anyone, you don't lose a whole lot. But if you do, it's an easy target to try and pick off and advance onto. Well, AXZ Gaming have their final pick up here. DFM going for the Graves into the Volibear. That is most likely going to be in the jungle position, but will mean that Set is either going into the top or support lane. We did see a mid lane support or mid lane Set this game already, or today already, so Kai'Sa is going to be locked in by AXZ Gaming here. And AXZ are really giving DFM a run for their money of how bad these drafts can get, but Kai'Sa's okay, I'm gonna stop saying the word Kai'Sa, but she's not exactly a champion that offers very poke. She's quite the opposite. She's very susceptible to poke. And at what point is your Zoe going to be taking an all-in that will give Kai'Sa the platform to use that killer instinct? Perhaps if Set is dunking forward, you can kind of teleport out to the end of a fight, but that's a pretty ideal circumstance to look for. While DFM gonna be banning away the Ornn to get rid of that long-range engage that definitely Kai'Sa is a champion that can benefit from. Would have been a fine pick for AXZ to lock in, as they're gonna ban away two mid-lane picks of Seros's liking. Two of the more poke-oriented picks as well. They're going to leave LeBlanc open, so DFM could look at giving Xeros a LeBlanc if he so chooses, but he has a couple picks that he enjoys still in his repertoire. Well, AXZ are going to have their next pickup. Varus is still open, and Lethality Varus, although not popular in the LJL, is still a very viable pick for the comp that AXZ... Oh, wait, we can't pick Lethality Varus. We picked a Kai'Sa. That's right. Because they're going to lock in their support for the Kai'Sa here. A Thresh. It's not the worst support in the world. Does offer a little bit of defense for Kai'Sa in the laning phase, but... the Kai'Sa is just such a standout in my mind of AXZ here, as DFM are going to lock in a Wukong and a Kog'Maw. And that's going to be a Kog'Maw in the mid lane, actually. The AP Kog'Maw showing its head first time into the LJL here. Well, AXZ has their last pick to show for the top lane of things here. Malphite has been a decent option to pick alongside, or into Wukong specifically, but also the Malphite ultimate is a great setup for Kai'Sa to get a target to ultimate onto. These fights are definitely going to be going in a lot of different directions. While DFM have two poke-oriented carries, AXZ has one poke carry and two dive threats, and then the Volibear and the Thresh who are just gonna try and split the difference. I honestly have to say that I am looking at DFM's draft as a little bit of the better one. When you're looking at the two of them, I honestly would have liked to have seen I always talk about it, but something just a little bit more defensive for DFM would really have paid dividends, but that's going to be aside the point for now, as DFM, their game plan is fairly straightforward, save for the Wukong, who doesn't exactly match up on the damage profile, but hopefully we'll be able to hold his ultimate for when the Kai'Sa goes in. And DFM should be winning the poke battle in this matchup, as AXZ are undeterred by the Volibear's just utter garbage win rate. They're going to be locking that one in for the jungle position. And while I have been rather harsh on the Volibear pick, and I've been very vocal about it in the past couple days, I think its win rate will speak for itself. It's a sub 20% win rate, but it is being picked so early on, and it's molding for even me. I understand what LS goes through, I feel, when we watch just repeated pick of this Volibear over and over again. That is just netting no value. When you're looking at it, even in this game, who is the Volibear going to be getting on that really matters? Are you going to be engaging on steal? When is he ever going to be in auto range of you? When he's just going to be throwing, when he can throw a smoke screen out, auto Q, he has face rush, he is out of there. Evi, maybe? Who is just going to pop a clone in your face and then your CC is gone. Perhaps AXZ is going to pull out something special, but I don't imagine that. I'm curious to see what that will be as this game progresses onward here. Day one as well. This is going to be an opportunity for him to kind of strut his stuff. That's the other thing, is I feel bad for day one in this kind of a setup. You're still a little new to the stage. You're 1-1, I believe, in your pro play performance so far. And now you're playing a carry that is going to have zero support when you go in off of that killer instinct. And while AXZ could have locked in the Wukong right away, but they don't want to risk getting that countered, they pass over the Wukong, and then have to pick the Malphite that is not going to offer any amount of CC other than the initial ultimate for the Kai'Sa to be ulting in. As Dead Nation focus me. It almost feels hard for me to say that Dead Nation focus me is the guaranteed victors in this game. I don't like saying guaranteed victors as is, but I like DFM's draft a little. I like DFM's draft better. I think they are a higher team in the standing, but they have had some uncharacteristic losses in these past few weeks, and it has been rough to say the least. As DFM almost feel like they have this mental boom about them in not performing up to par. And after a loss to Burning Core, you're hoping that they're rallying and really trying to battle back.
LJL 2020サマースプリットウィーク6ゲーム7アクシズ vs デトネーションフォーカスミーの試合スタートです。さあこのコグマウまずは一つ注目ですね。序盤のところでまずスロス選手がどれだけ綺麗にラストヒット取っていくのかというのもレーニングフェーズ非常に大事になってきますからね。
Alright, and as we start things along here, DFM and AXZ, both with fairly expected runes. I'm not too well versed in what the AP Kog'Maws in the mid lane are going these days. I don't mind Phase Rush, as the extra move speed will help out in dodging any return damage coming out from Garairu in the mid lane. That said, it also helps as a little bit of an anti-gank tool. If you're able to get the Phase Rush proc, you can send out the slime that Kog'Maw loves to do. That'll slow them a little bit on their advance as well. So, not a bad setup, but speaking of which, he's going to send it right there as Garairu's going to feel a little bit of that early poke. Not going for the Comet, which sometimes is an option for just adding to that extra poke damage, but I'm actually fairly surprised to see that infograph there. Twitter saying AXZ are fairly convinced, 70%. The boom of DFM is on right now as Corporal's just gonna walk in the face of Gang here. He's gonna get ignited. He should just be dead for this. If Udapon wants to flash forward to get that auto, no, sends the Q and lets it go wide. As I'm actually very surprised that neither Udapon nor Gang flashed to make sure that was going to work for them. But flashing forward now with the level 2, that's gonna be level 2 in Corporal as well to lantern out to safety. Definitely felt like DFM could have been a little bit more aggressive there. But they'll take a flash for flash. At the end of the day, Gang is going to lose out on the Summoner spell war there, but they have a couple health pots, which means the HP traded is definitely in DFM's favor. While Steel is going to be pushing away that red buff. He's full clearing his jungle here. He did skip over his chickens, but ultimately going for a full clear, while Hoglet looks to be doing the same. So a little bit of lull in the jungle department, while in the bot lane at least, there's been a little bit of action going on. I don't imagine much will be going on in the top lane as well, as Malphite does a great job of neutralizing most AD carries. Or, excuse me, not carries, excuse me, but just AD champions in general, with sacking up all that extra armor. He loves to just kind of hold on to it and say, yeah, this is, neither of us are going to kill each other anytime soon, but Unyan will be waiting for his opportunity to teleport into another lane and be the rock that Malphite always loves to be, while Hoglet's going to be grabbing up his respective scuttle on the other end of the map, as Gang's going to get another good engage onto Day 1 here. The W is going to trade a bit of damage back as well. And Day 1 is getting bullied in this lane. This is the other risk of Kai'Sa, is that her laning phase is so weak, especially being a shorter range AD carry into a support like Set who can so easily punish you having to walk that close to the minion wave. He's almost always guaranteed a stun. Hasn't forced a summoner spell yet, but Godido's going to be wandering down for a roam. Having Redemption on the W is actually a great spot to be in, as you can do that to kind of help delete out a wave, but also just hold on to that for a little extra sustain as well. He takes the back, though, and teleports right back into the mid lane. There goes the Redemption. Will help one-shot that wave, as that's a good E landed on his Saros. Going to force out the cleanse from him. That's a good aggressive patterning there from Godido. He's going to force Saros to back and will shove the next lane under turret. So a little bit of CS missed from Saros there, and Godido might be able to grab a turret plate as well if he has enough time before the Kog'Maw waddles his way back to the mid lane. Unyan going to do a little bit of wandering of his own. Puts down a ward there and will spot steal on his way out. While Hoglet's looking for an opportunity onto the bot lane of DFM here. They're going to wander up. Will they face check for this ward? There goes the E. Not quite going to find his way onto Utapon. Can't go too far forward. If Gang pulls him under turret, there's no R for Hoglet to rely on. But will force the Arcane Shift out of Utapon. And that's a decently long cooldown, but Gang's going to make the call to turn onto Corporal. Aftershock should be able to keep him alive for now, but there's the shield from Gang. That's going to be first blood over to Gang, as Hoglet is duking it out with Steel on the other end of the map. As Phase Rush should be able to help him buy enough to get onto him. Will he have one more dash? No, not quite. Both Hoglet and Steel sprinting through the jungle. But Hoglet's going to live out on that one while Gang finds first blood down there in the bot lane. Well, Hoglet's looking for an opportunity. No flash available, so... Ooh, but the bubble's going to land there. Godido can't quite get all the way in to deal the damage that he needs to, though, so... Gonna back away from that one, while Steel's gonna be able to secure the first Cloud Drake there. The overlay kind of gave a little bit of a spoiler to that Cloud Drake, but there was no one nearby to be contesting that anyway. And this is just, honestly, DFM just kind of being the superior laners in this game. Corporal, AXZ in general have just not really been respecting the engage range that Set has, but it's honestly a little bit difficult to do that when you did draft yourself into a Kai'Sa blind. We're not entirely blind. You did see the set already. But either way, it's going to mean more of a CS lead for Utapon in the bot lane, and as Gang already grabbing his Swifties is going to make those engages that much easier to pull off. First blood helping pad that gold stat a little bit, while Kog'Maw trying to wander around here, see if he can get some vision down for this Rift Herald. Putting a pink ward down there, and AXZ's backing here tells the tale that they might be looking to send 5 strong over to that Rift Herald. And it would be an okay fight for them if they can get the comp to run how it wants, but it's a very hard ask, if we're being honest, about AXZ Gaming needs the Malphite ultimate to hit targets you need, Kai'Sa to have level 6, which she does not have from the struggles of this early laning phase, while Utapon is already level 6, and my stream is going to buffer. Oh joy, I love it, it's so great. We're back, don't worry. Alright, hold on, I'm gonna refresh the stream real quick. While we... You're gonna give me ads?
Yeah, we're dancing. Is that dancing?
It's chalked, bro. I might be recasting this. I'm so sick of Frontier throttling me, and you're really gonna give me 2 ads while I'm just trying to get back to the game at hand. That being said, do your part on the corona outbreak. Glad I got an ad for that at least. It was something productive, a good message to send out to the kids. But speaking of messages, they have a message for Evi in the top lane. That's going to be Hoggle going in. Did he cancel the ultimate? No, it's going to go down eventually. It's going to Ohm Wrecker that turret long enough. Will they be able to finish Evi? That's going to be the ultimate in from Kaisa. But Wukong's going to turn this around to find two. Evi's Conqueror's going to heal him up. He just found a third one there. As Corporal's going to go down as well as Disaster strikes for AXZ. They were trying to send the message, but little did they know that Evi's inbox was full, and he was happy to just pick that dive apart. And I can't say anything other than AXZ kind of did it to themselves, where we'll watch this back one more time. You go for the dive onto a character like Wukong, who stalls out for so long. The Ohm Wrecker goes down and it looks good, but look at how much time Godaidu spends not being able to do damage, and then you're forcing a Zoe into melee range in order to try and finish off a carry, and then Kaisa's ulting as well. Sure, maybe Kaisa gets the kill, but she's definitely dead the moment after that happens. But a great play from Evi there to turn that dive around, and that's going to mean about almost a 3k gold lead over to the side of DFM. So we'll be able to grab that one up. And this was a fight without even every member of DFM. AXZ were 5 people strong heading on over to that one. You got the Rift Herald too, so you do have that to fall back on, but that was not exactly your finest hour. As Evi 2-0-2 and Steel 2-0-1. Outside of the solo kill that happened on the bot side of thing, that's a good steroid over to the side of DFM that have just happened to align to their pockets. Hoglet's going to find Evi here, going to throw down the E. Got to be a little bit too late to get the slow, but he's going to force out a teleport from the side of DFM. He's going to take the lantern backward, but the dunk into a 3-man facebreaker might be enough to get things started off here. That's going to be one dead onto Zoe, and a soon to follow onto Corporal there. DFM just going to find 2, and it's such a frustrating game to watch a team just instantly lose in the draft like this, but Hoglet's going to be looking for a little bit more action onto Gang. They're not going to be able to knock him down through the haymaker just yet, but Evi looking for a little bit of a scrap afterwards. As Gang's going to have a little extra move speed to get away from that one from the Nimbus Cloak, and Day One's going to be falling on the bot side here. One more auto ought to do it. Yes, sir. They did find a Gang in the end. I guess Godaidu found a kill onto that one, but then gets hooked up. Evi's going to be the next one on the menu for AXZ Gaming. They're going to trade 2. Overall, a 2-for-1 across the map. You know, if DFM are going to be mental boom, a fiesta like this is exactly what you'd like. As DFM are coming out on top of this one, AXZ might be able to get first turret if this charge is enough to knock it down, but all that gold going over to Malphite is not exactly the target you're looking for. Infernal Soul on the menu. Everybody likes extra damage, so it's not a bad look for either member, but as it stands right now, DFM are closer to that soul and have a gold lead to back their attempts at it, while AXZ, you can just see the amount of vision they have to clear before they can even think about walking over to that Drake pit. And a second Rift Herald coming up as well. We'll watch a replay one more time of the top end of things. While Evi and Unyan are scrapping it out, no one is really going to be winning on in this fight. Gang is coming around to try and get things started up, but he ends up going very low. And no ultimate on Evi means he can't really stall out for too long. Then the teleport comes in from Godaidu. He's going to be able to knock down Gang with relative ease, and powered autos is all he really needs. Well, that whole time, Evi was just actually scrapping with AXZ Gaming. He saw a teleport flank come in, and he just decided he was going to stick around. That's a little bit of a question ping coming out, but I suppose there wasn't a whole lot of escape options that he had. He just didn't even make an attempt to get back towards his turret, even after Zoe missed all of her spells and had no CC to keep him there. As Udapon's going to try to get a couple turret plates up towards the top side, and delete a few waves as well. Unyan can kind of farm in the face of him being full armor. He's not exactly too concerned about that, but Corporal's going to find a hook, throw a lantern over to Hoglet, all you want. That is a level 10 Eva. He is not scared of you. As Steel is going to be in the mid lane looking for a play onto Godaidu, but ultimately just holding ground for this Rift Herald. And Hoglet is Hoglet is far from farm that would be able to trade up and hopefully get back in the level advantage, so they are feeling desperate to make a play, and the question is where it will come from. They can look for a play out of the mid lane, but they're going to look for Gang here in the jungle. That's going to be Day One ulting in, gets ulted in exchange. It's going to take a lot of damage from Gang there as he's just going to get the phase rush to run away from that one, and I mean, if you're AXZ Gaming, are you really expecting to just blow up a set at this point in the game with a Kai'Sa that just has 2 pickaxes? I can't imagine a world in which they were ever going to burst him all the way through without the help of Godaidu there, but he was just not in range for that play to work out just yet. And while DFM are coming out on top, I can't say it's pretty for anyone. As I will seldom look at a game and call it ugly, but this game is definitely one that just from top to bottom, I am not too happy with either team's performance. And if you're AXZ Gaming, I can't imagine you are either, as after that dive went to Ryan the top lane, they have been struggling to get things going for them. But an Infernal Drake up in about a minute means that AXZ have probably another opportunity to take a fight if they want to look for it. The real issue will just be getting mid lane, or getting priority around that river and owning the vision there so that DFM cannot set up the firing range that this comp wants to. While DFM are going to be opening up the map a bit wider. That's first of the outer turrets falling forward DFM side of things. While AXZ did get first turret on the top side, it's not going to help them in the vision war around this Infernal Drake. While Unyan is just continuing to pressure up towards the top side. He can take a turret shot. He took no HP damage from it, as he's already going to be cresting into his first armor item, checking on the jungle tabs of DFM's blue side there before he likely will be looking to reset, or maybe just trying to see if he can keep Evi here and then look for a teleport play afterwards. AXZ do have opportunity to go onto Kog'Maw if Unyan is able to get in range of it, but Godaidu's going to take a ton of poke. Ulti from Gray's not going to land, but if it did, is Godaidu, ooh, barely sidesteps on that one, but there comes the rock, as he's going to fly in onto Saros there, chunk him down to about almost his full HP bar. Good flash from Godaidu, good awareness, did not get caught sleeping in the shop, as is going to be forced to flash away there. Does have teleport available, but the advantage is still to DFM here, where Saros does not have teleport, but he will be able to run back to this fight. But now, Day One just lost his main engage way of getting into the backline to get an ultimate off. They are on the Drake right away, but that's 5k HP that they still need to burn through. All the while, their mid turret is going down, and Unyan's going to be the one to head over there, but pulled back to this Dragon Pit once more. That's going to be a huge amount of damage on the Gang. Not enough to chunk him out just yet, but here comes Evi looking to way to disrupt this fight. Will the Infernal Drake go down? No, Gang's going to pull him out of the pit, as Graves going to pick that one up. Godaidu's going to punish him for his mistakes there, as that's going to be the Malphite going down there, gets poked out by the Kog'Maw R, as flashing over the wall here. Evi's going to find one as well. That's going to be overall a 2-for-1 benefit DFM. With Drake in tow, this is DFM's game to lose. And AXZ are really feeling the detriment of their own comp here, and just, there is no way to get everything they want started up here. And we'll watch this all one more time, as things start off okay for AXZ Gaming, but there's a teleport coming in off the flank that AXZ has no amount of defensive tools to deal with. If Volibear is your defensive tool, but also your jungler, you cannot split his positioning between I'm going to peel away Evi and I'm going to be in the pit for this Drake. And in the time they split the difference, DFM just destroy AXZ here. While DFM are just going to help secure themselves a 5k gold advantage, steadily growing that number as the games go by, or as this game goes by. Union. It is so funny that the split push threat of Union is a Malphite, where everyone on DFM is going to look at this Malphite and say, yeah, I don't really know what we're supposed to do about that one in the side lane. Evi can't exactly fight that by himself. Union doesn't even really need to care. He's just trying to stand around and do damage to this turret. And Evi's taking more damage from Union than he's even dealing. But they don't even need to really care about the Malphite. He's not exactly setting up any wombo combos. He's setting up an ultimate for one character that is currently 0-2 and in full, or about a half an item behind of your AD carry. So Union will be able to grab up another turret. A lot of gold absorbed by this top lane Malphite. But all the tank stats in the world are going to not save his backline from Evi, who has priorities elsewhere, as he is not going to face the mountain just yet. But that's a sleep landed onto Udupon there. Not going to be able to follow that one up, and understandably so. It's a little bit of an awkward angle. Zoe can't portal jump over that wall, but Udupon is immediately turning back around and saying, I'll throw a little extra damage onto Hoglet there. Arcane Barrage flying through, gonna miss. Only gonna leash Hoglet a little bit, as he is going to take the big Krug away from him. As Infernal Soul is on the menu, 2 minutes to that clock. DFM are looking around here. They are going to start up the Baron. This is a little bit risky, but I don't think AXZ are in any position to really respond, as Udupon not being in the pit kind of just looks like Udupon is harassing for the fun of it, but a lot of pings are coming out. AXZ are onto their case now. This is a potential throw for DFM if they stick on it, and they know that, so they're going to back away there. They were just seeing what they could pull AXZ into, and unfortunately that was not going to be enough. They are going to back away in the end and just wait for this Infernal Soul, which is all DFM really have to do to win this game, is wait for this Infernal Soul. And I really am going to just, it's basically an agreed upon, without a miracle from AXZ Gaming, this soul will be theirs, as AXZ Gaming's comp needs a miracle just to win any fight, where you have this little cute two-person combo between Union and Day One, you have a poke character of Garaidu, and then you have a bear and a thresh who are ultimately adding nearly nothing, because Corporal is not going to be able to get in far enough to peel for the Kaisa, or you're going to have her ult in and then lantern her back out, and the Volibear can't run through the lines of DFM while you're just sprinting through Udupon spells and Zero spells. All the while, Steel can zone, and Evi can present a threat to Garaidu on the back end of things, but Union has spent a little bit of time standing on that bank ward. Malphite not known for his hyper intelligence. He is rock after all, but we'll see how things end up turning for AXZ Gaming here. As the Drake is up, AXZ going to start things along here. Teleport's coming in. Evi is going to be ready and willing, but I think the Drake's just going to go down before DFM can even contest, and DFM just underestimating the amount of damage that AXZ could do to that one, yet they just kind of pass it over. Well, in the wake of that, DFM will have to wait a little bit longer if they want to get towards their next Infernal Soul, as DFM are just going to control as much vision around this Baron as they can, while the rest of AXZ Gaming are just trying to find ways in to get towards this Baron objective. DFM have all of the pressure in the world. They're going to look to try and bait AXZ into a fight, and this is probably the most DFM thing we've seen all summer, is DFM waiting for their opponents to make a mistake, and the enemy team just not wanting to give that to them, as Corporal's going to be the one wandering the furthest up here. Eing over the wall is going to mean Steel takes a little bit of extra damage, but ultimately we'll just be stalling out in the meantime. Unyan, 2 armor items and completing his 3rd one. He is rock, and he is rock solid, as he is going to be an unmovable force in that bot lane. Realistically, anywhere he goes, there's no amount of getting around him, or there is getting around him. There's no amount of punching through him that you're going to be able to do, but DFM are going to try here. Unyan has ultimate and can use that defensively if he needs to, but the shield already back up. Gang is just looking at him like, is this really even something we can do? At least not until Yutapon completes his Bork and an armor pen item. Is that going to be an option? But that's going to remove a little bit of other utility options from the Ezreal, as Saros is going to be the main one to look to do damage onto Unyan towards the later ends of this game. The robots going to be agreeing in DFM's victory here. And it's hard to see AXZ really pulling this one out, because if DFM's mistake was that, we accidentally gave over an Infernal Drake, we made a mistake in our timing and AXZ snuck away with the Drake. You can give over one Infernal Drake. It is not going to make or break this game. Well, Unyan's going to just try to go for a solo onto Eva. He pretty much can. While Gang is going to be coming down here. Clearing away a little bit of the vision will not allow Unyan to be as aggressive as he might like to. But I don't even think Gang and Evi by themselves can knock down Unyan before he's just able to walk away, as he is rock. All of that aside, Infernal Drake back up in about a minute 50. DFM have another opportunity to get towards this soul. So let's talk about it, DFM. You made a mistake. Your timing was a little bit off. Happens. It just happens. Please do not make this mistake again, as now this is your Infernal Drake opportunity. And the longer that you wait, Kaisa becomes more and more of a threat. You did a great job nullifying her in the early parts of this game. You don't exactly want to let that go to waste, as Kog'Maw, AP or not, is still very susceptible to getting bursted out. Seraph helps a little bit in that department, but Day One is doing a great job of keeping farm up, while Gang's gonna be the one to start things off, going a little bit deep there. While the poke is just flying from the side of DFM, they're just slinging spells left and right. While AXZ are backed all the way up to their turret. Still a minute on the clock to that to that Infernal Drake, so not too worried about that one. Hoglet's gonna go up for a smite and try to run, but it is gonna go over to Steel in the end, winning out on that one. And Hoglet should have smite up in time for this Infernal Drake, but Unyan is marching into the base pretty much uncontested. Gang is the one backing here. Alongside Evi, they will be able to stop his push there, but Unyan is just a mountain of a man who is just kind of... It's like the world's slowest Tryndamere, who he's always split pushing, he's always there, and there is no way you're gonna kill him without almost all 5 members of DFM. And in the wake of pulling them apart, AXZ can battle for this vision a little bit. 3, 2, 1, and the Infernal Drake is on, but here comes the dunk from Gang. He's gonna start things off. That's gonna be Zoe going down, and Corporal forced to flash away. That's a man advantage for DFM, and likely means Infernal Soul, unless Hoglet has anything to do about it. Two level disadvantage at this point in the game means stealing is very difficult. On top of just what he has to get through in order to get that, that is going to be DFM picking up the Infernal Soul while Saros is trying to run down Hoglet. Corporal already making the call to go to the other end of the map and start securing vision. As Axes are just going to start it up in a little bit of desperation. I don't think they do enough damage to burst this all the way through, and Saros and Steel are going to find them on their way in. That's going to be a Kog'Maw R that is just going to force the ultimate out from Hoglet. He's just going to die in the pit alone, as this desperation act is going to net Day One nothing, as he's going to R onto Steel but not finish him off, as Evi is finally going to find the fight of his dreams with the solo kill onto Malphite in the top lane. I can't really tell you what else Axis was supposed to do, but their comp really does nothing, and it spells disaster for them, as Soul, Into, and DFM are going to be able to pick up the Baron pit here, or pick up the Baron objective here. They should just be able to march this one in and end this game. As Saros just wanders up here, look at the range on Saros. Hoglet never even had time to look at him, and would have had to run through so much to even get onto him. And Day One does what he can with the Kai'Sa pick, but it's just... I almost feel like Day One got hung out to dry as the rookie here. They put him on Kai'Sa, and what is he really supposed to offer this kind of a game, as DFM are almost about a 9k, 8k gold advantage? And Axis Gaming are really just going to try to hold on to this as long as they can, as Gadaidu's not even going to get the follow-up on that damage onto Gang. There's this mid lane turret's going to be going down, probably just to the mid-empowered minions. As DFM are feeling a bit pressured here. Gang's going to go over the wall, going to face check into Unyan. Alright, Axis, you don't exactly have a 1-3-1 set up. You don't have a split push that can work reliably with Unyan there. Do you have a team fight that can deal with this siege tank? The long-range artillery that is just sort of shattering the mountain's crust here. That's going to be another set of R's landed onto Unyan. No real sidestep because he's just going to get pelted here. That is just a volley coming out from Saros there in the mid lane. As another spell is going to land his way onto Gadaidu. Almost lands the second one. Lands a third. Gadaidu's just going to be forced all the way back. Saros showing the power of the AP Kog'Maw here. Surprised we didn't end up seeing this get picked up yesterday. Is Hoglet's just going to face check right into every member of DFM. Almost gets blown up for it, but DFM are going to take the time to back up. They're going to take this one slow and steady and really make it hurt, not only for Axis Gaming, but for me having to watch this game. As I'm so disappointed in Axis, who I've always kind of been like, they're better than this, they're better than drafting like this, but DFM want to put a nail in the coffin of Axis' playoff dreams, and understandably so, as DFM have playoff worries of their own. Well, DFM is looking to just try and aggress onto this mid lane turret. The Baron is gone, but they can siege as long as they like until this Elder Drake is up. And that will give the members of Axis Gaming that much less room to play around when it comes to the poke damage. You eat 1 or 2 Kog'Maw R's and the execute will come for you. As it stands right now, DFM are going to be shoving up the mid lane here. I'm not entirely sure what Evi is doing alone in the top lane, but he's going to be having a little bit of fun trying to punch onto Unyan and just see who is stronger, the shield or the Wukong staff. As there goes an ultimate flying in, just barely going to avoid Day One there. As Evi's going to get away from that one. They're going to pivot over to the bottom side, try to take this last outer turret, which I'm surprised they didn't posture Evi over for early, but Trying to just pull members around the map here. This is just going to be one more turret knocked down.
さあインナータワーの破壊に成功。エルダーがあと1分。
As they're going to try to shove in this mid lane turret as well. Dodges out on that one as Gang's having a little bit of fun stutter stepping around those Zoe E's. There goes a teleport from AXZ Gaming. That's going to be Unyon coming around on a flank here. Will they be able to find a fight? Corporal's going to go very low in the meantime. Unyon's in the middle of everyone. Day One's going to follow that one up with the Killer Instinct. They're going to find 2 so far. Is this the fight that AXZ are looking for? As Steel's going to almost go down purely to the missiles coming out of the Kaisa. They just found 2 kills right in the face of this Elder Drake spawn timer. AXZ can't afford to back here. Evi was unable to get any value, but still has his ultimate for this fight. This Elder Drake is going to mean everything as Corporal's doing everything he can to delay the minions in the mid lane. AXZ is trying to pull this Drake aside. Unyon's wandering around here. He's trying to just see what he can do. If he gets onto Steel, it's going to be so hard for him to get into the pit. 3k HP down, 2k, and now it's going to be on. That was actually Gang who was able to steal it away. This might just be the disaster that DFM are looking for. They're going to knock down Unyon. They're going to knock down Hoglet. A beautiful hook onto Evi, but it's really just a... It is just not gonna be enough, and oh my gosh, DFM could not have found a way to find a sloppier end to this game. As Gang got a steal onto that Elder Drake that ends the game, and DFM will secure their playoff dreams, and AXZ unfortunately will be falling. That is going to be AXZ unable to make playoffs from this point on. So goes the story of AXZ Gaming. Oh, what a game. Alright, we'll watch the replay one more time. I'm so sad because it looked good here for AXZ Gaming. You found the TP flank. You found what... This is what the comp is supposed to do, I guess. The ultimate comes in. There goes Day One, and this fight looks so good for so long. Could I do even finding the Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto Evi there to buy a little bit of extra time before he's able to follow up, but I gotta watch this Elder Drake steal. It left me speechless. And we'll speed along here. Oh my gosh, Unyon does everything he can to zone away Steel. I don't even think Steel got in smite range. Oh, it hurts so much to watch. But that will be DFM taking this game, and that's gonna be game over to DFM. Gonna be taking a quick break before we get into our last game of today. CGA and AXZ is gonna be running that one to close out week 6, and whew, what a game.
ドームじゃ噛み合ったということになりますかね。この試合序盤のところから、そして最後のシーンでもそうでしたが、ゲン選手がよく支えましたね、DFM を。どこで見ても、この試合本当に要所でゲンが作ってましたよね。序盤のところからもう最後集団戦のところも含めて、Eの精度が半端じゃなかったですからね。さあこれでデトロイションフォーカスにはプレーオフへの進出を決め、そしてアクシズはプレーオフへの望みは絶たれたということになりますね。いやアクシズもあと1周早ければというような。そうですね、本当にあと1周早ければ。本当にチームの力自体はかなり戻ってきてましたからね。いやさあそれでもデトネーションフォーカスにしっかりとここで1勝上げプレーオフ進出確定させました。これがそのスランプを脱出するきっかけになるかどうかですかね、リールさん。そうですね。あとはもう一つ一つ直していくしかないですね。さあそれでは見事勝利を収めたデトネーションフォーカスによりゲン選手のインタビュー準備できているということですので、下月さんお願いいたします。
らにはデトネーションフォーカスミーの源選手にお越しいただきました。お疲れ様でした。
お疲れ様でした。
お疲れ様です。
はい、本日2戦目勝利で終え、ここでプレーオフ確定となりましたが、いかがでしたか？
오늘 두 번째 경기 승리로 끝냈고 그 플레이오프도 확정됐어요. 소감 어떠세요?
그렇게 썩 좋진 않은데 그래 다행이라고는 생각해요.
네. こう手放しで喜べるような感じではないんですけれども、良かったなとほっとしています。
なるほど、ありがとうございます。それではイエーガーさんお願いいたします。
はい、本日スーパーウィーク2日目ということで、昨日の試合を終えた後、デトネーションフォーカスミー内で、チームの中でどんな話をされたんでしょうか？
오늘 슈퍼위크 그 두 번째 날이었고요. 그 어제 경기를 끝내고 팀 내에서 어떤 얘기를 나누셨나요?
뭐가 문제인지 좀 찾으려 했던 것 같고 그 문제점을 오늘은 좀 좋게 하려고 했던 것 같아요.
네. 何が問題かっていうのを、探すような、作業をしていたように思います。で、その部分を今日修正できたんじゃないかなというふうに思ってます。
なるほど、修正点を見つけてということですが、多分その話し合いの中にも